Okay, uh, welcome to the channel, New Vision Spiritual Center. Sorry about the delay on the video. Last week it was Super Bowl Sunday, and I got caught up. Life got crazy, and I was late getting the video out. But so I just wanted to welcome you again to the channel and continue our discussions about what the universal teachings and so what are the universal teachings and why are they important. To start off, so we have basic understanding of terminology, a teaching can be defined as engagement with learners to enable understanding and application of knowledge. Okay, a universal principle is defined as a fundamental truth or proposition that serves as a foundation for a system of beliefs, behavior, or a chain of reasoning. Over the past few episodes, I've been talking about this and stressing the importance of going within, maintaining contact, and inward questioning, discuss, inward dialogue with your highest self, going inside, meditating, listening, etc., etc. Going over how important it is to meditate, get present, in order to learn our role in how our lives play out. Our lives are an outward manifestations of the things that we think about day after day after day after day. So in order to change our lives for the better, we actually have to start inside and change the things that we're thinking about, right? Marcus Aurelius put it best, and I'm going to read a quote here. He said, and this is going all the way back to Roman times, look well within yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you are willing to look. Marcus Aurelius is one of my go-to sources. He's stoic. They always stress the importance of taking acceptance of consequences and our role in it. And so, if you haven't figured it out by now, you are the central ingredient in the recipe of your life, right? So taking accountability for our actions and decisions and not being a victim of our circumstances is a huge realization, and most times not something that we want to hear about. We always look for someone else to blame, and I've discussed this already ad nauseum in the past couple of videos. But the good news is once we overcome the shock of realizing that we are accountable for how our lives have turned out, there is a map that we can use to get us out of it and out of the circumstances in which we find ourselves. And this is where the universal teachings come in. The universal teachings are the roadmap, the guiding star to use as a means of navigating, getting your bearings to steer the ship of your life, as it were, into calmer waters, so to speak, right? So, just some examples, like the teachings of Jesus are universal principles, applicable to all people, no matter what their race, color, creed, origin, sexual origin, orientation, gender, any of it. It's all people. It doesn't matter, because these are the universal laws that govern this realm that we live in. Love God, love your neighbor, forgive others, don't be a hypocrite. Repent, i.e. make amends, going back to doing that fearless moral inventory that we talked about before. If you want to go through all of the biblical references, I refer you to Exodus 20 verses 1 through 17, Matthew chapter 7 verse 5. In Buddhism, the Eightfold Path is another one. Right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. As I've discussed before, our our minds slash brains have been programmed since birth, starting from our parents, our teachers, our peers, our government, all the way out to society at large. And all of this input and is programming our minds, and much of it is flawed. The universal teachings help to rewrite this flawed programming that we have in order to debug or get rid of all the malware for computer. If we're using an analogy of a computer, gets rid of all the malware that has guided us to our present situation, whatever that may be. You all know whatever situation you're in that you have a thing, a pattern that tends to repeat in your life over and over, a bad relationship, a bad boss, a bad relationship, whatever the case may be. You can take all of these things and apply them into yourself. And if you're brave enough, we have to look inside and do that work and find how can we apply these universal teachings to and compare them to our lives and see, okay, where am I at on the scale? And the universal teachings serve to take out the earplugs and rip off the blindfold of all of this stuff and our perceptions, if they're flawed, and things that we choose to or not hear or not listen to. They give us in the term, Jesus said it, eyes to see and ears to hear, right? Robertson Davies once said, the eye sees only what the mind is prepared to comprehend. Your life, our life, my life is currently manifesting based on my current belief systems, right? This is based on level of understanding, level of emotional control, and most importantly, your level of self-acceptance. Do you accept, do you like who you are? Do you accept who you are? Modern psychological and neuroscientific research is all starting to back this up. A lot of the findings that are coming out now is that many of our decisions and reactions are all influenced, if not determined, by unconscious processes. Things that we're not even thinking about, things that are on a deeper subconscious level that are making us respond to situations in a certain way, emotional reactions, behavior patterns, all of these things that are like subsurface programs that are running, that are kind of causing us to lean in whatever direction it may be, and not necessarily for the good. So the universal teachings serve as a way to it's a guide, it's a guidepost to see where you're at as far as making the right choices and the proper choices for our lives, right? And it's the case of gaining self-control, rewriting these processes as programs, and it can work wonders on how our lives start to play out. When you realize, when you go back, like I said before, a long time ago in a previous video about going within and finding the incident, finding the seed of, finding the thing that caused you, the spark that initially causes you to believe a certain thing about yourself. I'm afraid, I'm weak, or I'm not good enough, whatever it is. Once you gain that insight, that our choices and behavior patterns are influenced by this so-called the subconscious program. This is where the inward questioning comes in. It's developing the self-awareness and mindfulness to reflect on our impulses and choices. And then when we begin to work to align our actions with reasoned choices, instead of just reacting, take a breath, think about it, think about the situation and with control, then we move forward. And using the universal teachings as the guidebook to proper alignment. This leads us to being present, to living in the moment, right? Not dwelling on the past, repeating the same things over and over and over in our head. Most of the times, a lot of people think the same thoughts over and over and over every day, all day, and it's a repeating pattern. Well, like we talked about before, our mind, our brain is an electromagnetic receiver. It receives and reflects through, if you can break it down in science, I'm sorry, I'm rambling here, but when we gain control of this through the application of the universal teachings, we can navigate our influences, issues, and problems with wisdom and equanimity instead of reacting on pure emotion. Sorry, it was a long, rambling way of getting that out. But so what are some other examples of universal teachings? These teachings can be regarded as God's fundamental laws. Although we may not even realize it, examples of universal teachings are all around us, permeating everyday life. Whether or not you understand their full meaning depends on your level of awareness. Again, going back to eyes to see, ears to hear, about the mind not being, the eyes not seeing what the mind is not prepared to understand. Being able to see what the mind comprehends, like Robertson Davidsy said, here's an example: what comes around goes around, or you get what you give. These aphorisms are considered universal teachings because they're laws of the universe that apply to everyone, and no matter what religion. And however, when you meditate on the deeper meanings of these common sayings, you realize how much insight about life a simple saying like that can provide. And just remember, like we talk about, God loves active participation, not passive acceptance, right? You have to be an active player. You have to participate in your life. You can't just let it all happen to you. Because we are co-creators of it. We accept and repel things away from us, good and bad. And the key to it is determining and changing the programming using the universal teachings to co-create in a positive way. So be on the lookout for these universal teachings. I said life is an open book earlier, in the description. All the answers are inside of us, and they come at us. You'll see them. If you're paying attention, you'll see a billboard on the side of the road, or you'll hear a lyric from a song that you've never heard before. These are all things to pay attention to. They give you just little bits of guidance. It's God talking to you. It's your higher self that's connected with the source with the God force talking to you, trying to guide you in the right direction. It's just all about having the eyes to see and the ears to hear, to catch it and apply it. And again, it's not about just passive acceptance. It's application, doing the work and going forward with it. No one said it was going to be easy, but if you stick with it, you will truly marvel at what is all around us, waiting to be discovered and applied. And I'll finish on this note that application is the key to all of it. It's all about doing the work. It's all about taking responsibility and being a creator, co-creating with God to give us the life that we want to have, and to be the light in this world that is so dark now. I hope you enjoy the video, and you guys have a wonderful day and have a wonderful everything, and I look forward to talking to you next time. I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much.